Hello, welcome to my channel. Come on in, have a seat. Today we're going to talk about how Turkeye sent a man to prison for over 9,000 years. It would be cool if he could live that long, but yes. What's the story about today? Adnan Oktar. And the cultural dynamics, the symbolic power of the women, the political pressures, and the questions that remain concerning his organization. Yes, so let's entitle this Adnan Oktar, Beauty, Power, and the Battle of Sovereignty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, some stories are not simple. Some stories are not clean. Some stories reveal the collision between culture, politics, beauty, and belief, otherwise known as faith. And this is one of them. Before the headlines, before the accusations, and before the collapse, there was an A9 TV station in Istanbul. A studio filled with women whose presence alone challenged the cultural boundaries of their time. Names, and I won't read them all, but you'll find them in the description. Mehtap Şahin, Kübra Yıldırım, Yasemin Kiriş, Pınar Yada, Beril Koncagül, Tuğba Bozkurt, Damla Pamir, Gülşah Güçyetmez, and many others. These women were highly educated, articulate, and poised. They dressed with intention. They danced with dignity. They spoke with conviction. And to some, they were symbols of liberation. Women expressing beauty, faith, and intellect in a way rarely seen in conservative Muslim societies. And to others, they were a provocation, a challenge to religious norms, a threat to established gender roles. And at the center of this constellation stood Adnan Oktar, a man who spoke of peace between Muslims, Jews, and Christians. A man who rejected hostility toward Israel and called it a deception of Satan. A man who argued that evolution was a false ideology used to weaken faith. A man who published books on Quran, the Torah, the Gospels, and the unity of humanity. To his followers, he was a teacher of love, a defender of women, a voice for interfaith harmony. To his critics, he was something else entirely. Oh, yeah. And in 2018, the movement collapsed. Hundreds were arrested. Trials followed. Sentences were severe. Human rights groups raised concerns about due process and treatment. Supporters claimed the charges were fabricated. Opponents claimed the group was dangerous. The truth, whatever it is, became buried beneath layers of politics, religious tension, cultural anxiety, and the power of public perception. But here is what cannot be ignored. The women of A9 TV were not accidental, they were intentional. They were symbolic. They were political. In a society where feminine autonomy is often constrained by tradition, their presence on television was a statement of sovereignty. They expressed beauty not as seduction, but as identity, not as rebellion, but as interpretation, not as defiance, but as dignity. And that alone was enough to create enemies. Because when women step into visibility, cultures react. When beauty becomes empowered, politics reacts. When religion is interpreted differently, institutions react. So some say Oktar empowered women. Some say he exploited them. Some say the group was a spiritual community. Some say it was a cult. Some say they were persecuted. Some say they were protected. But beyond the claims and counterclaims, there is a deeper question. What happens when a movement tries to redefine the boundaries of faith, beauty, and sovereignty all at once? History shows that such movements rarely survive intact. Whether Oktar was a visionary, a manipulator, a reformer, or a cautionary tale is for history to decide. But the women, their presence, their courage, their visibility revealed a cultural fault line that still runs through modern Turkey. Yeah. A fault line between tradition and modernity, between religious authority and personal sovereignty, between the old world and the emerging one. And at the end of the day, folks, whatever one believes about the movement, its intention, its downfall, one truth remains. Love was their message, and love was their defense. Love conquers all, they said. And perhaps in the long arc of history, that is the part that will endure. This is the sovereign way, and this is the House of Avalon. Yeah. So, remain in peace.